So this very first slide here, just kind of, reminding everyone of how there are so many statistics that emphasize more and more the importance of why we need to take our health seriously. This is not something that we want to just, oh yeah, I hear those numbers and, that's not going to happen to me. It can happen to anyone. And if you see here, just, the very beginning here, 69% of the US population is overweight or obese. Now, all of these things, because our topic tonight is around metabolism, these are all things that can definitely happen because of our metabolism not working correctly, and we're not keeping our metabolism stimulated. And as we age, this is a very, very important thing to note too, that our metabolism does slow down. It's proven and it's shown that that does happen. And we need to have every possible bonus that we can to help with keeping the knowledge that we know we're doing everything possible we can to help keep our metabolism healthy and strong. So, some of the other things that are talked about on this screen here is diabetes. That 27 million people have diabetes. Again, that's oftentimes triggered because of obesity and being overweight. Cancer, that's a very high one. Heart disease, stroke, dementia. And again, many of these things are things that we can control, which is very important to note, that a lot of these things people think, oh, it's just in my genetics, it's going to happen. You may be more prone to things, even with your metabolism, that there are some connections with saying your metabolism can be somewhat, it can't be determined by genetics, but there could play a part. So you do want to note that, but it doesn't mean that you can't make changes to make a difference in reducing some of those statistics. So when we look at metabolism, I just want to mention here real fast that I think that one of the biggest things that we can do to actually slow down our metabolism is dieting. And this is a huge thing that people tend to think that to stimulate their metabolism, the best way we can do it is by going on a diet. And this is a perfect example of showing, if you've ever heard of, the diet cycle, it's called the yo-yo, whatever you want to call it. It's the same concept that if you go on a diet, you decrease your calories. I should also mention this, guys, a really big thing right now is intermittent fasting. And that's a big, again, one of these trendy things that you really want to be careful of, because anytime you're restricting calories and then you go back to eating normal and you continue that pattern, you are definitely creating here a reduction in your metabolic rate, which is going to slow down your metabolism. So we need to note this diet cycle and figure out what we can do to possibly reverse this. So I want to get into here talking about, like I said at the beginning here, metabolic boosters, thermogenic products. If you know what those are, the word thermogenic is basically what it means to help your body generate heat, and that increases your metabolic rate. And people do this for weight loss. People do this for athletic performance. And those are generally the two biggest reasons that people look at taking a thermogenic type product or something revolving around increasing your metabolism. So if you guys can see on my screen here, it talks a little about what thermogenics are and what are some of the main ingredients that are considered thermogenics. Caffeine is probably the number one ingredient you're going to see added to a lot of these products. You also see guarana, green tea extract, garnecia, and ephedrine, which is a very, very dangerous one that's actually been used in a lot of supplements that contain stimulants that we'll talk about here a little bit more in a second. But some of the risk, and you can see some of them at the bottom there, but it's amazing that these are actually found in products that you can find over the counter. I think that there's a lot of people out there that think, oh, these are only found in things that, bodybuilders get from an online source or something specific to helping muscle gains and things like that. Not so. You can find products. I just had a client that brought to me the name of his product that his trainer told him to take and asked my opinion on it. And when I looked at the label, I was absolutely blown away, because this is a product from GNC that is sold as a thermogenic booster. And it had the equivalent of 9 cups of coffee worth of caffeine in one serving. And they told him to take that before his workouts and after dinner. So think of the amount of caffeine in 18 cups of coffee and the effect that this could have on, he is 20 years old. So, it's scary. And yet I think that we're becoming more accepting to some of these things that we just think is okay, like caffeine. But we need to note that they can definitely create harm short-term and long-term. And many of these thermogenic, I was talking about what it does is it generates heat in your body. So the weight loss is similar to when you exercise. So that's why people will take them, because they think before exercise, then they exercise, they can burn twice the amount of calories, which that is the idea, right? That you're boosting your energy levels, you're increasing your blood flow, so you're going to burn more calories. But many of the ones that are used, you were talking about some of these herbs here. You may have heard of kola nut is a popular one, guarana. Those are very common ones that are used. But there's also one thing like the ephedra here, which is similar to, if you guys, it's actually the same thing as mao hung. And that was a very, very popular supplement, I would say, maybe 5 years ago. And they found that that was actually causing significant increases in people's heart rates. And in certain people, it would actually trigger strokes. So, you know, we don't hear about what this can do to some people. And the sad thing about many of these things, that when we talk about some of these side effects, it's not going to happen to everyone. But we need to note that there are people that this is going to affect in a very harmful way that could make a difference in their health long term. So some of these things that we want to note about a lot of these stimulants and things out there is some of the side effects that they're going to have. And we're going to talk here in a second about, you know, our metabolic boost option. It's a much more natural option. But anxiety, this is a big one. Again, when we think of, you know, we talk about heart rate. Yes, that's a big one. But you wouldn't think of anxiety as being dangerous. But caffeine is a big one to trigger. It's notoriously known for creating nervousness. So if caffeine is creating nervousness and you have someone that has a very an easy reaction to panic attacks and things, you have to think that those thermogenic properties are going to create anxiety, which that also relates to psychosis. So when you have anybody with mental health issues, we need to be noting, again, what types of products are we recommended and what are people putting into their bodies. Another one is insomnia. You know, these products create, think of if you drank 18 cups of coffee, I know I wouldn't be sleeping for a while. But when that happens too, you know, again, you're creating here an effect that it becomes addictive also. So again, the side effects are going off from them. Any product someone should be taking should not be having side effects. There's nothing that is going to be helpful for someone long-term if it has side effects. Gastrointestinal problems, that's another one with the thermogenic type products. And, you know, that's obviously makes sense. And they can actually irritate the colon is the main organ that a lot of those products definitely will trigger. Actually, abdominal pain and diarrhea are a lot of those mild symptoms they call. So if anybody has irritable bowel syndrome or inflammatory bowel disease, you should stay far away from anything to do with them. Again, a metabolic booster or thermogenic type product. Some other things, you know, we mentioned the elevated heart rate, but think of this too. If someone naturally has higher blood pressure, that if your heart rate goes up, it's probably also going to raise your blood pressure. So that would be another thing to take note of. And the Food and Drug Administration actually has noted, and you can look this up online, that, you know, some of these products have been linked to increased risk of heart attack, of seizures, coma, and death. And these are over-the-counter products. So I think, again, that's, again, most healthy people, this is probably not going to happen. And they will tell you that most of the main long-term effects, or again, including something like death, it was because they had a pre-existing condition that led to the complications that those products were then basically making those symptoms exacerbated. So, you know, we just, again, want to be noting that if somebody's talking to you about taking a product for weight loss, any type of stimulant that's, you know, they're using to help speed up their metabolism, always think of the things we're talking about here that maybe you could trigger some questions to help bring some, you know, some more thoughts into their mind of, wow, I never realized what that could be doing to me, and to actually know what some of those ingredients are. Another thing that happens is they find that when you are using some of these products, like I said, you may think it's short term, but it can definitely create some long-term issues. So, you know, that's what we're focusing on, right? Is trying to create long-term health. And that's why we wanted to bring to you a great option for a natural way to increase your metabolism. And, you know, there are some great things you can do, like getting a correct balance of omega-3s and 6s. Those are very important to helping with your metabolic functions. And just some other tips of, you know, some just again, guidelines that might be helpful for you to think about is, eating smaller meals more frequent. Those are great ways to help keep your metabolism a little bit more regulated and to stabilize your blood sugar. We want to avoid as much as we can of the ups and downs for blood sugar, because again, that's going to create the same effect with your metabolism. Think of too, when you are, looking at options to eat, avoid the supersize me options. Look at the options of when you're eating. A great rule of thumb is actually to eat until you're only about 80% full to help keep your metabolism at its best place. So, when you're eating a meal, think about that. I know I tend to neglect that, but to think about that, how full am I really? And that's a great concept to keep in your mind to note how much you are eating. And don't skip meals. That's a big one. If you are really trying to kick in your metabolism, again, whether it's for athletic performance, for weight loss, you need to make sure that you are keeping meals and snacks regular. Now, again, we want to make sure we're making the right choices, but that is a surefire way to slow your metabolism down, is by skipping meals and skipping snacks. You need to be eating regularly and making sure that you're getting all the right nutrients to help in keeping your metabolism working its strongest. So those essential nutrients that are key for your metabolism are going to be your amino acids, carbohydrates, vitamins, minerals, enzymes, fats. Those are going to be really the important ones, and that helps to keep your body functioning optimally. So those things all together, that's why it's important we don't just pinpoint, say, I'm going to take one product that's going to create this increase in my metabolism. What about the rest of your diet? That's a very big thing. Obviously, we also want to look at people's sleeping patterns, making sure they're sleeping well, and just trying to keep a overall healthy exercise regimen going for, again, whatever their specific goals are. So, and I think that when we look at some of these natural options like a metabolic boost, this is an excellent way to help basically get the same effects from some of those over-the-counter ones, products that are, again, to me, absolutely terrible and really should be taken off the market. But because there's no regulations on supplements, we know that they're going to continue to be offered and people will still buy them. So when we look at our metabolic boost, this is something you take with each meal. It's part of our 180 program, which is an excellent way to helping with getting the leucine to focus on keeping your muscle mass, and losing body fat is the main focus. But the idea is you take one with each meal. So it's not going to have the effect of creating that major stimulant one time and then again you drop. It's going to help to keep your evenness throughout the entire day. And what's in this is, if you got the label pulled up here so you can see some of the key ingredients here, but things like, chromium, calcium, vanadium, banana leaf extract, but the key patented combination of ingredients in here. So you will not find this anywhere else because, again, it's patented. And Shackley has done the clinical studies to prove that these three ingredients together, green tea extract, avoya extract, and purple corn extract, are actually the thermogenic blend that create this effect of getting, again, the energy going throughout the body and helping you to burn, like we were saying earlier, generate heat, which burns more calories and helps to increase your metabolism. So those are the key things in there. So, and I think that when you also look at this, the other thing to note is what isn't in this. A lot of those products I was mentioning, if you look at the label, the ingredient list is like 30 ingredients long, and you don't want to be seeing a bunch of added things in here. So you'll notice you don't have anything artificial. It's gluten-free. A lot of supplements now, they're actually loaded with gluten, and gluten is a big trigger for a lot of people, especially with digestive type issues. So, and the big thing that we're talking about, that combination of those key ingredients in here, that proprietary thermogenic blend. So what those ingredients do is, again, the clinical studies, this is not just me saying this, that it has been shown to increase your fat burning by 30%. So when that happens, basically it's this, what's called the EBCG, which is a flavonoid that comes from green tea that boosts your metabolism. So you'll see green tea, I said, was listed there. That's going to be different than using added caffeine. So the green tea is going to be natural occurring, so it's going to affect the body a little bit differently. But it also has the chromium, the vanadium, and the banana leaf, because that helps to stabilize your blood sugar. So when your metabolism goes up, we still need to keep the blood sugars maintaining their stable place. And also, those help with cravings and keeping your hunger down. And that's very important when you're trying to make some changes in improving your health, that you can keep, again, yourself very even, and making sure that you're staying full and you're trying to avoid those cravings. So this also has in there, naturally occurring because of the green tea, a very high antioxidant count. So again, everything you're putting in your body is creating health in one way or another instead of breaking down health. So in case you're wondering a little more about EGC is the green tea thing that I was mentioning there, the antioxidants are actually coming from polyphenols. So green tea extract, make sure your green tea actually is clean, organic. We want to make sure there's no pesticides, herbicides, and that's why we trust Shaklee, because they know they go above and beyond organic standards, that green tea is what has so many of the antioxidants. And there's actually a main group of polyphenols, which I actually had to write this one down because I remember the name of it, but they are called catechins, catechins. That is the major group of polyphenols that's found in green tea. So, and that is what makes that EGCG so beneficial. So again, this is a very unique product, and I oftentimes get the question, can I use this beyond just using it for weight loss? Again, we were talking about this at the beginning, of course, enhancing athletic performance, using it for someone that has something like chronic fatigue syndrome, somebody that needs a natural energy boost without having all of the chemicals. This is a very, very important product to note. But one thing we want to mention, if you have someone that has diabetes, or if you're familiar with the Shaklee product glucose regulation complex, you do want to be careful, because you don't want to be altering or hindering if somebody is on, insulin, or they're taking something to regulate their blood glucose. So you want to just check with their doctor before they would use something like this. So, and I just wanted to mention here and finish before I open up for questions here real fast is, this is tied in with our whole 180 program. So this was the study that was put together from a 12-week program where they utilized the Metabolic Boost here, which I grabbed this little bottle here. So I showed a picture of it a second ago on the label, but this little bottle here that you would take, again, 3 a day, this was combined with using the protein shakes, the snack, and you eat a balanced meal. What happened after the 12-week study? Now, the big thing that I like to note about, again, tying this in with the product that was very unique to any study that's ever been done on weight loss. And if you try to find out where the weight actually comes from, most of the time it's coming from people's muscle. And the majority of it at the beginning is water weight, and that's why they see the huge numbers up front. But after 12 weeks, 100% of the weight loss came from fat. So that goes to show that when you're using something like this that's helping your metabolism, and you're using the leucine to keep your muscle mass, that everything that you're trying to do, whether it's toning, trying to increase your strength, you're trying to work on decreasing body fat, this is the way to do it, because it's clinically proven and all the results are there. So, all right. Well, I'm going to open up for questions here real fast, guys. So does anybody have anything you want to add, or any questions here? I try to keep these at 20 minutes, so we are right on time here. So questions, guys, or anything you want to add?
I have a couple of questions, Amanda.
Sure.
When you were commenting on that you need to eat until you are 80% full, are you saying that we overeat as Americans, or we really don't eat until we're truly 80% full, so we go ahead and we're hungry again just like an hour later? Or do you think we're overeating and not stopping at 80%?
Great question. No, that is 100% because we overeat, and America is like famous for, like I was saying, supersize me, that we eat way above and beyond. So our metabolism has no idea how to keep burning, because we are just continuing to intake so much. And I know some of the popular programs out there used to say you should always finish your meal and wait about 10 minutes before you have seconds to realize if you're really full or not. And there is some truth to that, because mentally we think we're hungry, but it's not physical. So we keep eating beyond that 80% because it's comfortable, and that's what we start training our habits to become. And that's why, also I used to like back in the day, I don't know if you guys ever saw like those plates they made, and it had the serving sizes like measured out on your plate. It was a great concept, because really that is all our bodies need. And we just continue to think we need more, and that goes above that 80% full mark. So yeah, great question, Stacey.
Okay, and then when you said that you can take Metabolic Boost for other reasons other than like with the 180 program and to lose weight, do you still, why is it so key for taking it with your meals 3 times a day? And you do that if you're taking it for other reasons other than the weight loss?
The food helps to absorb it, And it's going to then stay in your system because this is very fast acting. It's not one like our Vitalizer, for example, that's time released. It continues to, this will be very quick, and that's why you have to continue it like up to 3 times a day. And even, if you're using it for a condition, like I said, chronic fatigue would be an example, that, their energy levels crash all the time throughout the day. So if you just did it once in the morning, then by lunchtime, you're going to have the same effect, where this helps to continue you throughout your day and keeping your body. The other great thing to note, though, about that also is you would not have side effects from this. Like if you go off from it, most of the time, once your body is back to being regulated, you won't have to stay on this the rest of your life. A lot of times people can do it for about a 3-month time period, and then their metabolism is back to where it should have been. So, good. All right, guys. Anybody else? Perfect. Did you guys find that to be helpful?
Yes, I did. Yes.
You're all muted. Perfect. Thanks, Judy. All right. Great, guys. Well, remember, we do these product calls, guys, to help you guys. So if you ever have a topic or a product you want to focus on, please let me know. I definitely think these are valuable, and that's why we continue to offer these for, our group. And we want to make sure that you guys, have this education and knowledge to be able to go out and share with others. So, all right, we're going to continue on to our business training call, which you guys in our team and you want to hang out, we'd love to have you stay on for a little bit longer here. The rest of you guys have a great rest of your Memorial Day, and hopefully I will see you guys back on next Monday. So thanks, guys.
Amanda. Thank you.
Thanks. All right. I'm going to keep this recording going here a second. So, all right. Okay, guys. So switching gears here. I know we have a lot of people gone tonight. So I think that it's been like people are busy with holiday stuff. So that's why I was asked to record it. So I wanted to make sure I did here real quick. But I just wanted to go ahead and if you guys want me to share that recording with somebody, go ahead. Let me know. I'm going to go ahead and actually, I think I'm going to stop this now. Let's see.